been sitting here watching it rain while the sun shines. It's really so beautiful. In the last 2 or 3 days, where I live in northwest Arkansas has really gotten some rain. A lot of farmers will say too little and too late, I know. Hopefully they've diversified, not lost all the crops. Have you noticed, by the way, I don't know how many of you do much gardening. I do precious little, but I watch it, and I've learned a few things. I've mostly gardened in pots, not having the strength to dig things into the ground. Anyway, one of the things, I haven't had my place mowed this season so far, and I'm not sure that I will. The grass is dead anyway, but I did get any number of large tall weeds growing, and I waited and I waited for rain to go out and pull them. And I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but if you've got a weedy patch, if you go out after you've had a good rain, they'll come up so easily when otherwise they just cling to the ground. And the ones that are deeper rooted, it's going to take more rain to penetrate down and loosen up their life grip on the earth. Maybe that says something about our inner weeding that we're doing in our garden of belief, getting rid of all the old programming that was shoved down our throats when we were too young and innocent to know it was programming and that it wasn't in our best interests. And I hope we're finding love instead of judgment for our fellow man. We can have some terrible situations and some terrible activities going on, and some people that are just eaten up. I believe that it's possible to have a body absent a soul. And I think that's probably what you get when you have a clone. You think they're ordering God to put a soul into that? No, I don't think so. I don't know. Just saying. There are those who are taking a very different walk than we are. But I really encourage everyone, especially now that we're in this sorting out phase of things. I mean, Anelia Benz said that it was in, I think she said 2010, that there was a split and that Mother Earth has already moved into the higher dimension and is just waiting for those going with her to catch up. I can't say that I quite get that, but I find it intriguing, and it would certainly be good news. Anyway, lost my train of thought there. It's as if maybe this is just the new way I look at life. All this exposure to people, receiving their life review and all that kind of thing, and the way that rearranges all the furniture in your head about what's important and what's not. It's as if we'll be judged, and only by ourselves, for all the ways that we were less than what we could have been. And come on, even with our mind, we can know that divine love is what it's about. It's the answer, it's the solution, it's the response that's always called for. So that even when we have those who have become instruments of evil. You know, you're not inviting them into your living room, but there's no need and no room for hatred in the soul of the light being. That kind of hatred and anger is like there's not enough trust in Source and in life to take care of things. Certainly not as fast as we'd like it to go. I mean, these ages that last for thousands of years, that's pretty intense. But they're going their way. The way Anelia sees it, the splitting out is going to happen much more naturally, in that when the evil ones die, they just won't be permitted to incarnate back here with those of us that are moving on up and out of this particular band of frequencies. And so they'll incarnate somewhere else where things are more their way, you know, where they can spread their dark wings, I guess. I don't know. It all comes out in the wash. In the end, it all comes out because every bit of it is within Source. And we know Source isn't evil. And so there is or must be something to be gained by those walking the dark path. I think with a lot of them, see, a lot of us are on the path of love. A lot of us are on the path of wisdom. Maybe the hardest path to walk and the hardest thing to master is power. It's been said, absolute power corrupts absolutely. You don't know what you would do in someone else's shoes. Now, any of us that are somewhat older, I think we've kind of come to this conclusion because we've seen ourselves in enough different kind of circumstances, responding in ways that were unexpected, that we finally, you know, have to, if we're self-observant at all, come to some level of humility that, you know, we just don't know how we would respond to this, that, or the other. And when you don't know, that is certainly no time to be judging. See, the unfortunate thing with judging is that you have to come back in the shoes of that which you have judged. So for that reason alone, it's in your own, what do they call it, self-interest to not judge. The things that we've condemned or been cruel to or judged or whatever, there's no punishment in it. There's no judgment or condemnation in it, although mind can see it this way. Instead, it's we get whatever we need for growth and development, and in this case, for a softening of heart. And you get to walk in the other man's moccasins, or woman's, or whoever it was, you know? If you think you're so great and this other group of the populace isn't, guess where you're incarnating next, sweetie? And you're doing it. See, we don't have access to the fullness of our divinity here consciously. We do, but it's in other parts of our being, and so we're unacquainted with that. Heck, we don't even know the physical part of us. We can't even answer for how we would, you know, react under various circumstances, much less the fullness of the self. I think it calls for a big dose of humility. And the humble don't judge. This judgment thing is kind of a closing of heart. Even if you're just judging yourself, it's really unkind. Discernment is important. You know, you don't go brain dead just because you cease judging. It's not like that at all. That is mind trying to figure this out. And if we stick to heart, we won't have to take too many detours like that. although when you're in heart, it's really cool because when mind chimes in, it's easier to see it, to discern, and you can tell, oh, that's just mind, I don't need to pay any attention to that. Or maybe you do, you have discernment in heart and a flow and a guidance that you're plugged into. You're being danced. You're not doing, you're being done. And it doesn't fit well into words. It's not linear, and words are linear. So, have I gone on enough to say what wants to be said here? I don't know. I mean, I just felt a real release of tension in the gut, in the whole lower abdomen. Just a beautiful release. And I don't know what that is. Do things like that sometimes happen to you? We can watch our body for cues to what's going on as well. Just as well as we can watch the mind. I mean, from our perch within heart, we have infinite, multiple perspectives available to us, and the opportunity to see that everything's talking with us all the time. Everything. Every little thing. And if we were in the fullness of our higher consciousness, we'd be more aware of it, and we'd participate more in the dance. It's like all of your spiritual guides, angels, whatever, that are around you, even family and friends that have crossed over that might come to visit. Most of us are completely unaware. We're not observing. So, another plug for self-observation. Speak with you again soon. Oh, and it's a really special day today, by the way. Today is 1 Jaguar, and that doesn't come around very often. I mean, the Jaguar day comes around every 20 days. There are 20 sun signs, and so they repeat like that. But where you have the one come around with the sun sign is much less often. So that's my special day. That's my day of birth on the Jaguar energies. Good day, and God bless. And I waited and I waited for rain to go out and pull them. And I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but if you've got a weedy patch, if you go out after you've had a good rain, they'll come up so easily when otherwise they just cling to the ground. And the ones that are deeper rooted, it's going to take more rain to penetrate. I've learned a few things. I've mostly gardened in pots, not having the strength to dig things into the ground. Anyway, one of the things, I haven't had my place mowed this season so far, and I'm not sure that I will. The grass is dead anyway, but I did get any number of large tall weeds growing. A lot of farmers will say too little and too late. I know. Hopefully they've diversified and not lost all the crops. Have you noticed, by the way, I don't know how many of you do much gardening. I do precious little, but I watch it, and I've been sitting here watching it rain while the sun shines. It's really so beautiful. In the last 2 or 3 days, where I live in northwest Arkansas has really gotten some rain down and loosen up their life grip on the earth. Maybe that says something about our inner weeding that we're doing in our garden of belief, getting rid of all the old programming that was shoved down our throats when we were too young and innocent to know it was programming and that it wasn't in our best interests.